of guide them along the process, answer any questions they might have, help them out with whatever issues they might be having. The main idea here is like just to keep those experienced people off of the keyboard so that they're more able to like answer questions and help out wherever they're needed. We might possibly also just like stick a red teamer like right next to the team they're actually red teaming against, so they can ask questions and talk a little bit more too. So that's a big thing there. The other mocks after that are probably going to be pretty similar. The scoring engine stuff will get a little bit different. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. Then we're also planning on doing 2 long form mocks. Those will be similar to Cyberforce and Ice Age. So the idea there is that in order to prepare for those competitions better, we want to do mocks for them. That's worked out really well for us with CCDC, so we'll figure we'd extend it there too. Big thing there is custom applications, weird environments, like SCADA, ICS stuff, and all of that takes a lot of work and manpower, and so a lot of help is going to be needed to actually get those things off the ground. Then 2 cyber conquests. I promise there'll be 2 cyber conquests next year at least, maybe even 3. So, long form mocks. This is still sort of in the design phase. If you guys have any ideas, like scenario-wise, what things you'd like to see, things like that, ideas for like systems or web applications, any ideas are welcome. Basically, the main objective of these mocks is to like train blue team with dealing with pre-compromised systems. Also give red team a little bit harder stuff to attack, as if they don't need that already. But the main thing there is just dealing with pre-compromised systems, analyzing source code for vulnerabilities. So actually looking in the source code, looking for like cross-site scripting, SQL injection things, and fixing that, dealing with those things in the environment, maybe doing workarounds for things you can't really fix in the code. And dealing with SCADA ICS systems, that might be a little bit tricky. I don't know if we have the hardware for it, but we'll try something at least. So the main thing there is we need people to like actually write those vulnerable custom applications, so people who can write like web apps. You don't necessarily have to know them off the bat. Like if you can learn how to like write stuff in Node.js over the summer, that might be a good project for you. And just like write up a web application full of vulnerabilities and things like that. Building systems, sort of like just like regular mock competitions. We still need those regular systems to build things on top of, so that can be really helpful if you're interested in doing that. Also, like creating inventive backdoors. So one of the cool things about Cyberforce and Ice Age is that they're often like pre-compromised with weird backdoors. So you might have like your password binary is replaced with something else that actually like copies the password that you type, or just some remote server, or puts it in a database or something like that. Just like weird off-the-wall things that might be interesting. And then maybe even writing CTF style anomalies. So at those competitions, they have like CTF style, like reverse engineering challenges and things like that. So in order to like sort of simulate those things, I guess it would be good to have some of those written up so that we can like deploy those as injects at those competitions. And then for CCDC mocks, big thing is going to be mock deployment automation. So like actually building out those mock competition environments takes a lot of time and effort. So if we can automate as much of that as possible, we can really cut down on the amount of work that we need to put in there. It's a little bit further along. We've been talking about it for at least 6 months probably. It's still in the design phase. I haven't had time to actually like sit down and start writing stuff. But basically the idea is we want to automate as much of the mock deployment as possible, deploy base systems based on the design document, and then deploy and configure services on those systems, and just basically configure them as much as we possibly can automatically, so we don't have to do as much manual work to actually get them up and running. Main like end goal there is to like cut build time in half, if not further, so we can like shoot these things out really quickly, and maybe even like do like micro mocks every week, just like automatically generate them, just deploy them out in like 5 seconds. That'd be awesome. So things we need people to do there is like create and maintain base VMs. We've been working on this semester. A few people have been working on that. I know like Peter and Eric have been working on that quite a bit. And then big thing over the summer is writing scripts for automated deployment. So we have a few scripts for like adding user accounts and like changing passwords and things like that for just like creating systems. We want to like build those out more. We've been looking into Ansible. I haven't really gotten too deep in that yet, but that might be something, if we decide to go that route, that may be something you want to learn how to use. So Ansible is a configuration management engine. So basically what it does is it will log into Linux systems over SSH or log into Windows systems using PowerShell remoting. And then it will just automatically install services based on a config file. So you say, I want to have Apache installed. I want to have the LAMP stack. I want to have everything I need to install WordPress. Or I want to have a full WordPress install. And it'll just automatically log in, download everything, and do it all for you. It's really nice if that's actually something that's usable for us and it's flexible enough for us to use. It's probably going to be the way we go. Big thing that we really need for mock, just like CCDC mocks in general and mocks in general, is Windows people. Really light on Windows people and white team. So if you're interested in writing Windows stuff, even just building Windows systems, that'd be really helpful. But especially if you can like learn PowerShell over the summer, that'd be really awesome. Learning PowerShell and then writing scripts to like, I want to automatically install Active Directory or like install a certain role on a system, IIS, whatever. That'd be really great. Then scoring engine. So main thing with the scoring engine is we want to continue developing it. And then also I need to hand off control to somebody else, right? Because this next year is gonna be my last year at DSU. So I need to like train up some people so they can actually keep using the scoring engine after I'm gone. So that's gonna be a big thing next year. My plan with that is that I wanna have like two or three people that I'll train up. I'll like walk them through all the code, and I'll have them train like actually setting up environments, creating the scoring engine to run them, and then next semester I'll be semi hands off with it. So I'll probably just be like shoulder surfing on whoever decides to help me out with that, and I'll just walk them through the entire process for the first mock, and then gradually release control, and then probably like the last mock it'll be all on that new person or group of people to actually set up the scoring engine for the mock. That's the ideal situation. So you probably know by now, I've been talking about it quite a bit over the past year, but scoring engine in Python and with Flask and MySQL. So Flask is like the web front end, and that's how our scoring engine is run. Documentation is pretty crappy at the moment. I'm probably going to try to fix that over the summer so that I can actually train people and they can actually understand how everything works. Then also making config creation easier. I think last semester it took me about an hour to like actually write the config for a mock, because I had to like pull down all the files and get all the hashes and everything for like checking file integrity and things. And it took a long time. I've automated that to some extent, just like writing skeleton files and things, but I want to make it go further. So you can actually just like, hey, I want to go, here's a box, here's a box, here's a box, these have these services. And then maybe even automatically going, hey, I want you to score this web page, and this is like the web page as it is what it should be going forward. So you can like store that sort of configuration. That would be nice. Adding new features, we talked about this a little bit too, like actually handling HTTP login forms so we can actually log into web applications. So you can't just have like a static web page, which is kind of bad. Migrating scoring engine IP is a big thing too going forward. That's probably going to be something we'll try to do over the summer as well. And then improving the engine for using Cyber Conquest. So the scoring engine we used for Cyber Conquest last semester was kind of slapped together at the last minute. So I'm not 100% sure what needs to be improved there yet, but I'm almost certain that something is wrong with it. So that'll be something to do. So I'm gonna need people write documentation if they want to as they go along, writing code, and also learning how to set up and configure the engine for mocks. That's gonna be the biggest thing probably, is actually being able to use the scoring engine. And then, also a nice thing we're probably gonna want to do is add more different pollers. So you can like, I want to score VNC, I want to score like Telnet or whatever, those types of things. All right. Last one is the Red Team engine. So this has been an idea for about a year, which has not moved beyond the idea phase. So it's extremely early in design phase. Basically, the idea is to automate the Red Team for use in training. I know we can sometimes get Red Teamers to actually help us out when we're training, but I can kind of sense that it's kind of boring as a red teamer to, at least like when we're trying to figure out new things, as a red teamer to like hit button, deploy attack, and then the blue team talks for an hour while they try to figure out what worked and what didn't, before having to like reset, press button again. So the idea here is to just sort of like automate that process a little bit so that red team can be free to actually do their own thing, train in their own way. That's a little bit easier for them. But the idea is, automatically logging in, minute zero, doing persistence, the whole red team shtick, and then scaling the difficulty level based on like blue team experience. So you do like, I got some easy stuff, I got some harder stuff, and then I got some really hard stuff. And then obviously like maintaining the log of how things happened over time so that the blue team can say like, oh, here's where I actually found your persistence and I killed it. And then you can see that in like a graph or whatever where it drops off. And we can sort of track performance of the blue team as it goes across. That'd be nice. And then obviously at the end of the day, the big thing is we want to beat Cutshot his own game and install persistence that he can't uninstall. And that's the end goal there. So we need people there to design the whole system. I'll probably be working on that, but that's going to be like third down on my list because I'm probably going to be prioritizing mock deployment and things like that. But if you're really interested in doing that, red team sort of engine-y stuff, design the system, writing code, testing out the system, those sorts of things. It's going to be big there. All right. Any questions on any of those projects that you guys have here? Yeah.
Has anyone started to work on the red team yet?
No. Cutshot and I have been talking about it, but that's about it. Yeah.
Zach, Quinton, and I started to talk about writing something kind of similar to it, but more of like a scanner. But that would be kind of fun to have like actual attacking stuff too. Yeah, we should talk about that. Oh yeah, also, if you're interested in doing any of this, just like let me know, PM me in Slack or whatever. I'll add you to the white team channel and we can work on these things. Other than that, there's no other questions. I'll let you go. This is the last meeting of the year, so good luck on finals and everything. Other than that, I thought by now, hopefully, they'd be done with the first day of CCDC. I'll ask them. Can turn off the live stream for now, though.